You're a jittery little thing, aren't you? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. We're going to talk about the 3v3 best defense teams in all of 3v3, in all the land. It is an epic list worthy of much renown. And I'm excited to show it to you guys. Remember that the offense video is coming out at the same time, so there's going to be a link to that at the end of this video or in the video description if you decide you don't want to have good defenses for 3v3 this season. And remember that I will have my 3v3 alt account video out with different comps that are maybe a little more approachable to you. And that, you know, I float around in Kyber 2 on that account, even with only 2 Galactic Legends, so probably worth a look. Now, one thing I did want to ask you, nay, beg you, is to not look at that. I can't get the right direction here. Please, if you want to support the channel for free, all you gotta do is like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Mount the algorithm, folks. It is fun and enjoyable. It is sometimes wet and wild. You don't actually know that from me, though. I've never known that, of course. Why would I? How could I know such a thing? Or maybe I would. You never know. Now, Jabba doesn't have his Datacron anymore, folks, and so let's see how good he is on defense. I think he's still going to be pretty great. Remember, the more the more relics you put on the team, the better. This is proven to be the best version, frankly. This is just the best version, and I think that it's going to be solid on defense. I think Kenobi's still going to kill it, maybe a little bit easier this time, but 3v3, there's not a lot of teams that can beat Jabba. You know, you kill the ads and multi-shot him, but he's good on defense. I don't know. I hesitate to find out what he's like on offense in 3v3. He's not going to kill a lot of Galactic Legends, I think. I think he'll just end up at a stalemate where you can't kill the other team. So it gets awkward. I think on defense is where he's going to go for the most part, and we're all just going to delete him with the same tried and true method. It'll be the most boring matches ever. Now, Rey is not boring at all, and actually I would love to take her on offense. I think I will be taking her on offense a little bit here, just because, here's the thing, guys, there's a Datacron that does the same thing as Hermit Yoda here. So check out Hermit Yoda, and then I'm going to actually just pause it for a sec on my end. You guys can compare it to what the Datacron does. So, alright, you got Master's Training here, which gives accuracy, who cares, in this matter at least. Defense, so it gives 25% defense, offense, potency, and tenacity. Don't care about potency or tenacity as much, but the defense and offense, 25% of that's pretty decent. Now, let me show you what the Datacron that you can put on Rey is, because it's resistance. Hold on a sec. Okay, whoa, hopefully that transition wasn't too jarring. But here's the thing, guys. Okay, so if you target another ally with an ability and your resistance, then both of them are going to gain 5% defense, max health, max protection, and offense. So you're gaining the defense and the offense, and then you're also gaining max health and protection. And you only have to do that 5 times. Now, Rey does her lifeblood all the time, and if you put another character in, like Resistance Hero Finn, he's going to hand the turn to her sometimes, and you're going to get those stacks pretty dang quick. You almost don't need Hermit Yoda to help you. Now, Hoda is still great for a lot of reasons. He can cleanse, he can, he provides that heal and everything, but if you're just looking for raw stats, that's probably where you're going to want to go with this Kron. You can do both, I guess, but just something to keep in mind, folks. Whoa, we're back. So that's why. So Ben Solo needs to be with her in 3s. I mean, it's GAC, and the Omicron's really good stuff. All of them on 3v3. Mod him for offense and some health if you can. Really great stuff. But then, so I just have Hero Finn here because because of his targeting thing, like Hermit Yoda. Here's the thing, though. I mean, you could have Hermit Yoda here giving Rey her stuff, and then Rey is also targeting people and everything. Remember, though, that Ben Solo is not a Resistance member, and so he's not going to benefit from the same stuff on that Kron. I just think Hermit Yoda might be able to be shaken free. We're going to have to just experiment with it. I think both of them are going to be great on defense, and I mean, Hero Finn can be used on offense as well. Now, so we have the unique, if you check the unique, of course, we have Hero Finn. Hey, you guys wouldn't have noticed that without me showing you, but I think the best version of the Zori team with our Omicron is going to be, at least last season, the one that I saw with a ton of holds from my friend Axel, who watches the channel sometimes with a certain level of disgust, I'm sure, but he, is a top player, and he has his Zori at 345 speed. I think Zori gives herself a bunch of speed, so with her and a fast Hero Finn, this team is just really crazy strong, gets a ton of holds, and I don't really know, like, can you swap out Hero Finn for Rose here? I'm just, who freaking knows, guys, at this point. On defense, on offense, what should we use this team for? I'm very interested. This season is going to be our Zori Discovery season, and I'm going to get the Zori Omicron at some point. It's going to be a whole mess for me and for my opponents. Go check it out live on Twitch if you want to, guys. It'll be great, especially when they're on defense and they're just sitting there. You'll be like poking with a stick. You're like, do something, and they're like, I'm just sitting here. It'll be a really awkward conversation for all parties involved, I hope. It'll be so good. So, Lord Vader, here's the thing, guys. I love this version of Lord Vader because Thrawn just really messes a lot of the the counter meta stuff up. Like, if he goes and you give him the good, if you have the 20% Datacron, then you're going to eventually, like, he's going to go first because he's the weakest, and he's going to fracture someone who's really important to the whole process, and it's going to be a really sad day for your opponents, and it'll be a happy day for you because your Lord Vader will be ramping and you'll kill them all. It'll be great. You don't need Maul. That's the thing. The thing that I like the most about this comp is you don't need Maul as much. Now, sure, it's a little more susceptible to off-meta counters, but in 3s, that's a lot less of an issue, of a risk, than in 5v5. Now, I do like Sith Eternal Emperor. You guys saw on the offensive team's video, Sith Eternal with Wat is pretty good. On defense, I just like putting Crew here because there's going to be a lot fewer off-meta counters that can take him out. Like, Wampa just loses. People are like, how? Like, Crew doesn't do anything. And it's like, well, he does, in fact, because Wampa doesn't like tenacity down. He doesn't like to be stunned forever. And Crew does both of those things. And eventually, Wampa's not going to beat this comp, and that's probably the one that you're most afraid of anyways. Now, I do like this team for offense, but this team can work on defense as well. You can even take Wat out and put a different Sith in here, something, some kind of a tanky Sith, I don't know. In general, I think in 3s, Sith Eternal should go on offense. You can surprise people putting him on defense, though. On defense, you can put General Skywalker down. I mean, more and more I'm tempted to take him for offense, to be honest, because Rex is really nice to be able to just bullet people immediately. But on the other hand, this team also usually takes a pretty good team out on its way out. Like, either takes a Galactic Legend or takes Hondo, or at least all the ads, and kills a lot of the banners. This team still does some pretty good stuff on defense. I think for now I like this. Just if you have a Kron that loads up on on protection and armor, absolutely something to be looking at. This Luke team with the Chewpio Kron, folks. A lot of people are going to want this Chewpio Kron, Relic 7 on Chewpio. And the thing is, if they can't kill Chewie or Luke right away with their initial barrage with Iden or with anyone, like this with the current Chewpio Kron, this team is going to be a little bit bananas and annoying on defense. So even though on offense you can do a lot of stuff, remember, every time Chewpio assists, he's going to be getting extra. He gets a lot of stuff. He gives everyone a lot of things like bonus protection or at least protection up, and target lock and offense boost. You guys can look at the Kron. I got a little bit of it backwards, but with the 2 droids, this team is going to be pretty nasty on defense unless troopers can handle it. We'll have to see how that exchange goes. Now, I like this Bossk team on defense. You don't really need Bossk with Greef. I mean, it's your comfort. It's my comfort zone, too. I love having Bossk, Greef, and Mando. But if you want to play a little bit risky and really maximize your team, I really like this Bossk team and put them with a lot of really good defensive mods, because this team is just really, really tanky. It's a timeout team, essentially, and people just can't kill it, especially if you have, like, the Tank Revive Kron on here. They kill Bossk, and they're like, well, thank God I killed your Relic 9 Bossk, and you're like, ha-ha! I have another Relic 9 Bosk in my back pocket. People are like, wow, that seemed implausible. And you're like, well, it wasn't. And then you win, and they realize that they should stop whining and do the same thing as you. Now, we have Radis on defense. In 5v5, I like him on offense. On defense, especially if you have K2SO, you'll note I don't have him Relic 7 yet. I don't have his Datacron yet. The Datacron is not a must-have. It is kind of nice for this team, but just keep in mind too, folks, this team is really cool, really good on defense, and if you don't have a tank to go with them, I said this last time, and I'll say it again this time, if there's not a tank here, you're going to be tempted to put Cassian at Relic 8 here. Don't do that. Don't do that. You need a tank on this team. You absolutely need a tank. Otherwise, you get destroyed by all the other teams that kind of struggle against it. Yes, Bounty Hunters will still kill it sometimes. Yes, you'll lose to Bad Batch, but K2 or Baze or Scarif Rebel Pathfinder all throw such a good hitch in their wagon, hitch in their something, and they will make it. They'll make people earn their win, I guess. This is a good team if you have a tank. If you don't have a tank, keep it for offense. We have Malgus here, and here's the thing, guys. This team will die to Traya super easy unless you have Revan and Basti. Revan and Basti will make Traya time out half the time, and that's really nice. So, not to mention, like, Hondo doesn't dare touch it. This version demands a Galactic Legend. All the other Malgus versions do not demand a Galactic Legend. So, this is what you want for defense these days, unless your opponent doesn't have the right teams or the team priorities, in which case you probably just win anyways. Now, this is the team that I discovered last season worked really well on defense as the alternate. So obviously Malak gets displaced from the Darth Revan team, but then you put Malak with Savage and Talon, and this team, I'm telling you guys, it is really going to make people hate life if you have the Savage Omicron. This team is super strong, and I highly recommend it on defense. What could I say? Traya on defense, I don't know, we talked about this on offense and on defense. I'm kind of torn, guys. I think it's better on offense, frankly, but on defense, people are going to overcommit to try to kill it, or they're going to be like, oh, it's just Traya, like, oh yeah, her Omicron got nerfed, no big deal. They'll charge in and get totally flattened. I do like this team on offense, though, because it deals with so many awkward teams. Like the Traya team probably beats this Savage team decently, as long as Darth Malak doesn't somehow get a Force Drain on Nihilus when Nihilus doesn't have any protection up. So, like, this team can do pretty good on offense or on defense. I think it's going to surprise some people on defense, though. Maybe sometimes just throw Sith, or the Sith Eternal tank, whatever his name is, the tank guy, the Sith Empire tank. I'm just totally forgetting his name. Set. You set on there. The Qui-Gon Jinn team. So Prince Less wins for me lately because, frankly, you can beat this team with Inquisition pretty decently right now. And a lot of people have Inquisition, and they don't know really what to kill with Inquisition. And so this team might eventually just kind of go on offense, because they'll still kill a lot of stuff on offense. However, I've said in the past, and I still believe, especially if you have the right speeds on this team, as long as your team is faster than their Bad Batch Echo, this team is very, very difficult for your opponent to kill. Sometimes the Newt team is not 100% against it, so if people want to gamble against it, usually I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. Like, sure, sometimes you get max banners, sometimes you just really struggle. So I think this team is kind of on its way out on defense. I hate that, but it is still really strong. You just have to have the right speeds. Remember, Ki-Adi-Mundi gets plus 80 speed on this comp because of his stance and his Zeta and Qui-Gon's leadership. The other two gain plus 60. You need to have them pretty quick in order to be worthwhile. Still, Prince wins on my alt super well, though. I will say that. Now, Shaak Ti with Echo and Tech. I like this version a lot more than the other leftover, like the Arc Trooper and Echo. I don't like those nearly as much, the 501st clones. Now, I realize this completely takes away your Bad Batch for offense, and so I wouldn't put this team on offense or on defense every single time, but this gets a lot of holds. It surprises people, especially if you have a fast Echo. Shaak Ti gives another 35 speed, and then they gain a bunch of turn meter based off of a lot of different parts of her kit. So this team will surprise a lot of people. A lot of people message me and say, hey, why am I getting holds with this? I placed it just because you had it in your video. Why am I getting holds? And the answer is people just don't expect, they don't know how to counter it. Yes, a lot of good, strong teams will be able to beat it, but someone gets sloppy and they're like, I don't know, like they're just a bunch of weak clones, you'll snap the jaws closed a few times. There's been a few times that I'm like, especially when I found out about this team, I spent like 5 teams trying to get chew through it. It's a nasty team in the right circumstance. Now, General Grievous with the current set 6 Datacron is probably going to be, I mean, he stole a lot of banners for me last season, and in fact got quite a few holds for me as well. I don't expect it to do amazing this season, but with all the target lock nonsense that can happen, this team is really good. I would like to see how B1 goes with it. I just like B1 with Newt so much in 3v3. I'm pretty hesitant to do that, but I think this is my favorite Grievous squad. A lot of people are going to be working on Droideka for that cool Territory War Omicron, and obviously Omicron doesn't do anything for this team, but Droideka might fill in decently here if you don't want to use your B2 or something like that. You probably want Magna Guard just for that taunt, and then whenever he counters, he's going to be applying basic, or on basic, he's going to be applying target lock, which messes with people. Now, I had the sortie team on the offensive video as well. On defense, this is going to mess with people just because if you have the Datacron, you have to have the Datacron for it to be really awesome. But it really works well on defense. It's going to mess with people because they don't realize how overpowered the Sortie-Cron really is with all the revives and everything. Can't spend time talking about it. You guys can watch my video about Datacrons, but it's going to be really good. Otherwise, you could also put IG-88 here instead of BB-8, one of the 8s. That should work decently, and have the double Phallus squad. I got a ton of holds with that squad last season. Son of Staros with Stormtrooper Han and Cara Dune. This team works well. What I should have done, and here, what I'm gonna do, it's gonna look like magic to you. You guys are gonna be like, holy. Whoa, that's magic. Hondo here instead of Cara Dune, folks. I think that if you don't want to use Hondo on offense, Hondo on defense with this team, like a lot of, so here's the thing. The Sana team is, if you're slower than Bad Batch, which is fairly easy to be slower than Bad Batch, then this team just gets picked up by Bad Batch. Bad Batch is overused a lot in 3v3 and in 5v5, but if you have Hondo here instead of Cara Dune, then Hondo's gonna go first, or maybe Hondo instead of Stormtrooper Han. Either one. Hondo's gonna be really, really strong here though, because he goes first, and people, like, yes, Bad Batch will kill the rest of the team, but Hondo will persist and just kill the Bad Batch. I've seen a lot of evidence of this. This team is really strong on defense. If you put Hondo here, you have to have a good Hondo, of course, with the Hondo Cron. That means you're going to be ignoring the Sana Staros Cron, which, I mean, I kind of am already anyways this time, because I can't get a Relic 7 in time. So we'll see how this team evolves. On defense, it can do okay, and it'll mess people up if they don't have Bad Batch left over. Now, Grand Inquisitor on defense, I do like Grand Inquisitor on defense too, just for the sense that, like, a lot of people don't know how to use him on offense, including myself sometimes. I'm like, I don't know, this is weird. In 3v3, the Datacron seems like it should be way better than it actually is. What do? Throw it on defense, make your opponent's problem, and you'll get some holds. I almost guarantee that you get some holds, or you'll draw away some of their really good teams, because people will freak out. They'll be like, oh my gosh, CG said that Inquisitors are supposed to be good. I guess I should probably just use a Galactic Legend here, because CG said. And it's like, well, cool. You're welcome, internet. Xaereth does it again. No, but here's the thing. I think this is a pretty robust defense. Yes, I'm going to be swapping it out for my own defense here, folks. Or swap it out for other variations of teams as I learn about them. The only way to stay truly current is by watching this channel and watching me live on Twitch. But you guys can learn quite a bit from this video, of course. I think that this is going to be a really robust defense for a lot of people. Just got to, invest in these teams, and you'll be good to go. So that being said, folks, what teams are you excited about? What teams that I miss on the defensive end? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails. Have a good one, folks.